Are y'all ready to see some crispy tip, curled up leaf divas? Stay tuned. Hello, 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 all my beautiful planty people. Hola, mi gente. I hope everybody is good today. Welcome to my channel, Hooked on Houseplants. They call me Chula, and I got something good in store for us today. Today, y'all, we will be looking at the temperamental diva of the plant world, my Calathea, Maranta, Tananthe, and Stromanthe collections. Yes, we're going to be looking at all of them because they all fall under the Marantaceae family. So Maranta, Calathea, Stromanthe, and Tananthe are all part of the Maranta family, but they just fall under different subdivisions or categories of the same plant family, which is Marantaceae. Hope I'm saying that correctly. So, we will be looking at first my Calathea collection. Okay, now what you're about to see may be a little shocking. No, I'm just kidding. We all know how difficult Calathea can be, but I feel like I've been, a little bit successful for the most part. But you all can be the judges of that. So, first up, we have my beautiful Calathea Dottie. And I have her in a self-watering setup because in case you didn't know, they tend to be more on the thirstier side. Calatheas do, as well as Maranta. Well, to me, all of them kind of tend to be on the more thirsty side. So, with this one, all of my Calathea, Maranta, Tenanthe, all of those, they're in pretty much the same light conditions. They're in medium to bright light, and humidity levels, which I'm going to talk about that in a minute because that is very important when it comes to these plants. They are from different parts of tropical Latin America. So when we hear tropical, we know automatically that they come from humid regions. So for the most part, they like to stay in between or at least 60 to 70% humidity or higher. That's what they like. And in a lot of cases, they won't thrive unless they have that amount of humidity. So a lot of people complain about the crispy chicken tips. Well, that's why if you're not giving them at least 50 to 60% humidity and above, you are more than likely going to get some crispy tips. Okay, I hate to tell you, but hey, it is what it is. Calathea Dottie. So if you like darker leaves, this is a good one for you because she has deep burgundy leaves with like a lighter burgundy design. Okay, so next up, this one will look familiar because I just repotted her in my last video, which I will link up above if you want to check that one out. This is my Penstripe Calathea, which I just got her, I think now it's been about a week and a half ago. Now, as I said before, I have had this plant before. I had this plant about 2 years ago. And yes, I killed it. Okay, I killed her. She had some type of pest going on. I treated her with something that I think was a little bit too strong for her, and she just declined very rapidly, as Calathea can do. So I'm trying again with her because I just think that this is a very beautiful plant. I don't see this plant in too many collections, but I think it's beautiful. Just the pattern. You can see why it's called the pinstriped Calathea, because it has the deep dark leaves and the pink stripes, and the backs are like a burgundy color. So this plant, as well as many of the Maranta and Calathea family, they are prone to spider mites. They are spider mite magnets, just letting you know. So as I always recommend with all of my plants that can be washed off, with the exception of begonia and some others, for the most part, I rinse off the leaves of all of my plants. One of my wonderful subscribers asked me for some care tips, as far as how I care for my plants. And that is one tip that I recommend, that if you are able to rinse the leaves off, some people dust the leaves, some people take a wet cloth and clean the leaves. The point is to wipe them off and keep them as clean as possible, the top and the back part of the leaves. And while you're doing that, look at them, check them, look at the leaves, and make sure that they don't have pests. And get into the habit of doing that if you can. I know we all lead busy lives, but if doing something like that can prevent an infestation, if you can nip it in the bud before it really gets bad and gets on all your other plants, take the time to look at them and to clean their leaves. So she is also in self-watering. Now, Calathea and Maranta, they prefer a mildly acidic soil with a pH of around 6.5. Now, to be honest, I put them in some Fox Farm soil. I showed the Happy Frog soil in my last video that I use. But some of the ones that I've had longer, I think they're in the ocean Fox Farm soil. The ocean floor, something like that. So, and they've done pretty well. But I do have a surprise for you, because not all of them are in soil. So take her in, y'all. She's beautiful. I hope I can keep her alive. I'm not gonna mess with her like I always do. I'm just gonna leave her alone. Make sure I keep this filled up with distilled water. That's another thing I'm gonna talk about in just a minute. Calathea Penstripe. Okay, so moving right along, this is another Calathea that I don't see in a lot of collections. This is the Rufa Barba. And this one has been kind of tricky for me, y'all. We've been through a lot together, me and Miss Rufa Barba. I've had to cut her all the way back because she had something going on with her leaves. And they were just looking bad. They were like, y'all, they were so crispy. And she just did not look good. So I cut her all the way back. And that's been about, I want to say almost a year ago, maybe 7 or 8 months ago. And so this is what we have now. Now this is a very different Calathea because it has fuzzy leaves. The leaves have like hair on them. And it's real soft. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it on there, but yeah, the leaves are hairy. A very fine hair on them. And this one, she is notorious for crispy tips. I mean, I have to constantly trim the tips to keep her neat looking. To be honest, she's okay. I'm really not really in love with this plant anymore. So if one day you don't see her anymore, then you'll know that I got rid of her. But yeah, this is what she's looking like. She's in self-watering. She's on the thirstier side too. She is. Okay. So next up I have my Roseopicta. And as you can see, I now have her in pond. Yes, yes, I have finally decided to try out pond. So a couple of days ago, I just noticed that, well, it's been more than a couple of days ago. I've been noticing that this particular Calathea has been declining, just slowly but surely, and just not looking good. And I've had to cut back a lot of the leaves because I don't know if you can see it, but she has like these rust looking spots. And I don't know what that's about. I don't see spider mites. I'm wondering if it could be flat mites. I have treated this plant with something for spider mites, and I've also treated this plant with a sulfur mix in case it's some type of bacterial issue. And sulfur is supposed to be a fungicide for plants. So, but I still noticed that she just wasn't thriving, not really growing that much for me. I mean, I've had this plant for a while. I've had her for over a year. And this is all the leaves that I have. Now, granted, I have cut a lot of her leaves off because they were just looking so bad. But she does have, I don't know if you can see, a new leaf coming up right there. But yeah, she just not really thriving. So I decided to try pond on this one. So yeah, about 4 or 5 days ago, I took her out of the soil that I had her in, cleaned off the roots really, really well. Her roots look good. Her roots looked really good. Rinsed off her roots really, really good, and I put her in Lechusa pond. Now, the way that I did mine, as you can see, there is chunky perlite mixed in with my pond just to add extra aeration. It's probably not necessary, but it's just something that I wanted to do since I'm a little apprehensive because pond is new to me. But I also have a wick, and I have her in this self-watering pot, and it has a little window where I can see where the water level is. Now this one, I kind of have her a little bit down into the water, and it's just plain distilled water. I didn't put any type of fertilizer or anything like that in it, because if I'm not mistaken, Lechuza pond is supposed to have some type of fertilizer in it. That should be good, I think, for like the first 6 months, if I'm not mistaken. If I am wrong, feel free to correct me down in the comments, because like I said, I am new to pond. So I'm just gonna see how she's gonna do. And if she does well, I think I'm gonna switch some of my others over to pond as well. But I will probably wait until they need to be repotted to do that. So I don't know. I don't know, y'all. I'm going to give you an update and let you know how Miss Roseopicta is doing and whether or not she is thriving in her new substrate. Okay. So next up is another Calathea that I also switched over to pond. This is the Macoyana. And to be honest, I probably should have waited to see how the other one does before I switch this over, but y'all know me. If you've been watching my channel for a little while, you know that I have a problem. I'm always messing with my plants. I cannot leave them alone. But she has always done well for me. I've had her for a while. I've definitely had her over a year. And I don't know, I just kind of felt like she wasn't looking up to her full potential. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to try her in pond. So I also, a couple of days ago, took her out of her soil, rinsed her roots. Her roots were looking fabulous, just like Miss Roseopicta. And I put her in pond. I surely did. So as you can see, I also had the chunky perlite mixed in with the pond. She is in a self-watering setup as well. And she's looking good. It's only been a couple of days, but I'm feeling positive. I think that she's going to thrive in pond. And it's just so funny because she has all of these lower leaves and then these just sticking up like that. So this is Calathea Macoyana. And now this is a plant that I see in a lot of people's collections. If they have Calathea, most people will have this one because she seems to be a more easier, Calathea. You know, when I was looking up information about Calathea, I started laughing and I wrote this down because I thought it was funny. It says that Calathea can be a bit temperamental when it comes to care. You think a bit temperamental? A lot temperamental. But yeah, they like what they like. Now, I have heard some people, and of course it depends on where you live, because some people don't have hard water. I'm not too sure about the area that I live in. I don't think the water is too hard, but I wasn't taking any chances with my Calathea. So I give them distilled water. I buy gallons of distilled water, which distilled water, I get mine from Walmart. I think it may just be a little bit over $1, um, but it's not expensive at all. And my Calathea do well, quite well, with distilled water. Now I did just get, or rainwater. Some people use rainwater. That's even better. You can put a bucket out there or something and collect you some rainwater. I've heard that they really love that. And of course, because that's what they grow in nature, they get rainwater. I did just buy this. Got this from Amazon, of course. It is a houseplant tap water conditioner, and it removes chlorine and chloramines, detoxifies heavy metals, and buffers the pH. And this bottle, which is 16 ounces, it says that it treats 16,000 gallons. And I believe that because it only requires 1 to 2 drops per gallon of water. Now, I just started using this. I have not used this to treat the water for my Calathea or Maranta. I have used this in the water, just regular tap water that I use to water my other plants. But so far, I have not tried it with my Calathea or Maranta. But I am going to try it, because if I can use this and not have to buy distilled water, I mean, that would be great. So I can't really speak on how effective it is for my, well, I can't speak on it because I haven't used it on them yet. But when I do, and I've been using it for a couple of months, I will give you an update and let you know if I feel like this is effective or not. Okay. Okay, I'm trying to get all my Calathea first before I move on to the Marantas. Okay, so this one, oh, it's kind of heavy, y'all. Oh, I just put this one in a self-watering pot, but she's in the, I just repotted her. She's in the Happy Frog Fox Farm substrate. Now, I previously thought that this was a medallion, but I don't think so anymore. I think she looks slightly different from a medallion. I think she's might be a type of Rosiopicta. So if y'all know, let me know in the comments, please, if you know what kind of Calathea this one is. Now, this one has been a challenge for me as well. I've had this one over a year too, and I feel like she should be a lot fuller than this, but I feel like she's been declining slowly but surely. I'm always like trimming back her leaves because a lot of them are looking really beat up, and a lot of that is my fault. Because sometimes I'll be walking past my plants and rubbing up against them and not being as gentle as I probably should be. But I usually just take some scissors and I just kind of trim the crispy chicken edges off, because I just don't like how that looks. But if she continues to not look good, and she just is putting out this leaf, a new leaf after a couple of weeks. But if she doesn't start to improve, in the next couple of months, I more than likely will try pond. If the other ones that I put in pond, if they do well and I see that they're thriving, I'm definitely going to move her to pond. But she's on the thirstier side as well, and that's why she needed to be up potted. Put her in this pot and it's self-watering. So this is what she looks like. Okay. Now, fertilizer. In the past, I have used the worm tea and a little bit of Super Thrive for my Calathea, but I'm out of the worm tea. So I'm going to start using, this is what I use on all of my plants. And when it's called Big Green Leaves, and I feel like this stuff just makes my plant leaves just take off. I mean, when they call this Big Green Leaves, they are not lying. I feel like this helps my plant leaves size up, which is getting to the point where I don't know if that's such a good thing because I'm running out of space. But I'm going to start using this on my Calatheas and Marantas, but I'm going to use it like probably not even half strength, probably less than that, maybe a fourth of the strength, because this is 2 scoops per gallon. Wait a minute. Yes. Yep, per gallon of water, 2 scoops. So I probably would use half a scoop to start off with, just to see how they respond, because Calathea, they are sensitive to everything. So I'm gonna use this going forward, and I will let you know how they do with this one. But this is what I use for all of my plants. Okay. I got this from Amazon. I will link it below, as well as this tap water conditioner if you want to try it. Okay, so next, if you've been watching my channel, I know you all have seen this one. This is the Orbifolia Calathea. And I know that y'all are probably going to think that she looks good. And she doesn't look bad, but she has something, which I talked about this before, something that I think is fungal going on with some of her leaves. Like, she has these like rust colored marks on some of her leaves, and I have been treating her with the sulfur mix that I have. I use this sulfur powder from Maana, and I mix it with water and I spray the leaves. But I'm also trying something else that's supposed to be like a fungicide and good for your plants in general. I'm not going to speak on it yet because I have not been using it long enough. But yeah, I don't know. She has something going on with her leaves. This one might also be a candidate for pond, because I think it's almost time for her to be up potted. So I might try her out in pond and see. I know there are some who grow theirs in leca. So I don't know. I feel like if it can thrive in leca, more than likely it can thrive in pond as well. But we'll see. Okay. So next up is another big one that I've had for a while. This is the Rattlesnake. Ooh, and she is heavy. This is the Rattlesnake Calathea that I just up potted last week. So she is in the Happy Frog Fox Farm substrate. And I also put her in a self-watering pot because she's on the thirstier side as well. And as you can see, you're gonna see some crispy edges on her because crispy edges sometimes they just cannot be avoided. I mean, like I've said before, you know, we're mimicking the environment of these plants, and you know, a lot of them come from places where they just get, I mean, the humidity is just like, you know, on 10, on steroids or whatever you want to say. And so then, you know, we try to grow them in our environment, and a lot of times the humidity is not ideal. So if you buy the plant, just know that Calathea maranta, they prefer the higher humidity. So if you know that you can't provide that and you go ahead and get the plant, then expect some crispy chicken leaves. Okay, just expect some crispy leaves. It's just, you know. So it doesn't bother me as much because I will cut them off in a minute. I will trim them up and go on about my business. But yes, this is her. I have had her, like I said, probably close to almost 2 years. I've had her for a while. So this is the Rattlesnake Calia. Okay. Let's see. Before I move on to my Maranta, I do want to say that I learned something interesting about the praying thing that they do at night, how their leaves just kind of fold up. And I think it's the Maranta that is called the prayer plant, but actually Calatheas, their leaves do the same thing at night. Calathea, I have a Tenanthe that does that. So I think a lot of them in that Marantaceae family do the folding up of the leaves at night. And I learned that this movement is caused by a special set of cells in the plant that swell and shrink based on the circadian clock. I know y'all like, what? Okay, the circadian clock, it says, is an internal clock that plants have that help them anticipate daily and seasonal changes in the environment. So for these plants, they can sense or they know when the sun is going down. So as the light is reduced, they respond by raising their leaves up. Now, most of us know what that looks like, but for those of you who are new to plants, I will insert a picture so that you can see what I'm talking about. See what it looks like when they fold their leaves up. It's really neat when they do that. Okay, so on Maranta, I only have 2 Maranta, and I know y'all remember this little one from my last video because I potted her up in self-watering. This is the, it's not called red leaf Maranta, I don't know, red Maranta, something like that. But she's not looking the greatest. I did find a little bit of root rot, if you all remember from my last video. And so some of her leaves are kind of curling up. But yeah, that's her. She's not looking too great, but hey, this is what we got. Okay, and then my other Maranta is one that most people have in their collection, which also is not looking the greatest. This is my lemon lime Maranta. Now explain to me why these leaves are curling up like this. She's not dry because I just watered her. So it could be a humidity thing. Or she could possibly have something going on with her roots. I have not moved her from the pot that I bought her in. She's been in this same hanging pot. I know, right? Can you believe that I actually left her in her pot? She's been in this one for, I've had this plant for almost a year. And she's been in this same pot. So I've never taken her out. So I don't know if something could be going on with her roots. But yeah, for some reason, some of her leaves are curling up. So more than likely, I will take her out of her substrate, check the roots, see what's going on, and I probably will put her in pond. Try her out in pond and see how she does. But yeah, this is the lemon lime Maranta. And so once again, different subdivisions, but all under the same Marantaceae family. And Marantas also enjoy higher humidity. Okay, now on to another member of the Maranta family, and that is the, well, you know what, I'll do my Strymanthe. This is my Strymanthe Triostar. This is one that I have seen in a lot of people's collections. I had her in soil. She was not thriving. And so I decided to put her in water. So she had been in water for months. And I said, you know what? I'm going to try her in pond. So I really don't know why. What was my reasoning now that I think about it? Doesn't make much sense. Why did I put her in stratum? She's in stratum right now. So I could have probably just put her right on into Lechusa Pond. But anyway, so I'm going to keep her in this for a couple of more weeks. Because her root system looks good. You can't really, well, you can see some of the roots. But she's doing well. But yeah, I'm going to eventually put her into pond as well. Because I feel like I've had this one for a while. I've had her for over a year, and I feel like she should be way bigger than this. So from now on, I've just made up my mind that plants that I'm struggling with, like taking them in and out of water, changing the soil, doing this, doing that, and they're still not happy, they going in pond. And if they don't do right in pond, we all know what's gonna happen. You got to go. You got to go, because I'm not gonna keep fooling with plants that I'm trying my best to give them what they need and they just not responding. So, because you know, these Calathea, I think they be thinking, oh, you think you gonna be able to handle me? You think you're gonna be able to make me thrive? I'm gonna show you. I think that's what they be thinking. Because just when you think you got the hang of Calatheas, it's like they turn on you. They will turn on you. So anyway, this is the Strymanthe Triostar. Okay, now on to the Tananthe. So there is a Strymanthe and a Tananthe. And the way Tananthe is spelled is different. It's spelled Ctenanthe. So it's pronounced Tenanthe. Okay. How y'all like that little pronunciation lesson? Okay, so this is my Tenanthe Burl Marxii. Y'all, this plant get on my nerves. I've had this one for over a year or two, and she just is not happy. Like, she should be way bigger than this. And she just repeatedly gives me crispy leaves. The leaves crisp up. And she just never like really looks that great to me. She isn't self-watering as well. I probably will try her out in pond when she needs to be up potted, which I'm seeing some roots growing down, so it'll probably be soon, but I'm gonna try her in pond and see how she does. But yep, this is the Tenanthe Burl Marxii. The pattern on the leaves is really pretty. Okay. So here is another Tenanthe. I have seen this called the Never Never plant. Seen it called something else, but this is the Luberciana. This is a Tenanthe. Okay, so same family. She was a whole lot bigger, but she started to decline. This is one that has had spider mite issues. So she is, why I have her in this soil, I really don't even know. Because she dries out like every day. This is a chunky soil mix. So I'm not for sure what my thinking process was to put her in a chunky mix. But do y'all see those roots coming out the bottom? So when I up pot her, yeah, because they're actually winding around the bottom of the pot. So she needs to be repotted. She isn't self-watering. I'm going to put her in pond. I'm going to try her out in pond and see how she does. But she's a very beautiful plant. Look at those yellow markings. Even though she gave me problems, I would say that she is one of the easier Tenanthes. To me, she's easier than this one. Okay. So last but not least, and I know y'all are gonna be like, no, she didn't. I cannot even believe I got this plant my own self. Like, what was I thinking? Like, do y'all ever get plants and y'all know that 9 times out of 10 that plant is gonna be difficult, but you just feel like it's gonna be different for you? Like, you just feel like, oh, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. This is what, that was my thought process when I got this plant. It's a beautiful plant. Beautiful. That's why I got it, and it didn't cost a lot of money at all. So that was another factor. But almost everyone that I have seen with this plant say the same thing. That it's hard, that it's difficult, that she's a diva, that she's a spider mite magnet, and all of those things are probably true. So why did I get her? I got her because she's beautiful. This is the Fusion. Now, I've had her for a year. I'm just kidding. I have not. That's why she still looks so good, because I just got her. Just got her about 2 weeks ago. So this is the Calathea White Fusion, aka Miss Diva cannot make her happy Yeah, this is her. I just couldn't resist. I think she is so pretty. And I'm like, I'm going to just try my hand with her and see how she does. So she is in self-watering. She is thirsty. I can see that already because I just got her and I've had to fill this thing up like this is the fourth time. So she is on the thirstier side. I know that she is prone to spider mites. So as soon as I got her, I cleaned off her leaves and I sprayed a little bit of this solution that I use. Is made up of neem oil, like a drop of Dawn soap, I believe, in water. And I sprayed her down, cleaned her leaves, and since I know that she is prone to crisping like nobody's business, I keep her down in this bucket. What is that floating in it? But it has water in it, as you can see. And I just sit her right down in it so she can bask in the vapor and humidity that comes up from the water. So I'm going to see how she does. So far, so good, y'all. But it's only been about 2 weeks, so I cannot scream victory just yet. But I will let you know how she does. I will give you an update in a couple of months. Hopefully, she will still be alive along with her other difficult counterpart, Miss Penstripe. So, y'all, that is it for my Maranta, Calathea, Stromanthe, and Tenanthe collection. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you can take anything away from this video, don't let Calathea scare you. I actually did a short that I'm going to link above about Calathea. And I asked the question, do Calathea have you shaking in your boots at the thought of owning a Calathea? And yes, they are. They can be difficult plants. They are more on the picky side. They like what they like, which is higher humidity. In my case, mine have done well with distilled water. I've heard other people say that they use distilled water, and you just have to check them for spider mites because they are prone to spider mites. But give it a try. You know, give it a try. See how you do. Maybe just start off with 1 or 2. See how you do with those. And, you know, you might be surprised. You know, you may be able to have a healthy, thriving Calathea or Maranta or Tenanthe or Stromanthe. Okay. So, for those who are already subscribed to my channel, thanks for coming back. I hope you have hit that notification bell so you know when your chula has put up new content. For those who have not subscribed, especially if you watch and like, what are you waiting on? Like, what else do you need to see? Please subscribe to my channel if you enjoy my content. I would greatly appreciate it. And as always, any feedback, tell me, do you own Calatheas? Do you like them? Do you find them difficult? What are your favorites? Whatever. Feedback in the comments. I would love to hear from you all. So you all stay safe. Oh, also check me out on Instagram. Stay safe. Take care. And I will see you in the next one. Hooked on houseplants, y'all. Bye.